This podcast is produced by students from Toronto Metropolitan University's Masters of Digital Media program.
We're here to guide international students through the Canadian educational journey with expert insight,
real stories,
and practical advice
to help you turn your dreams into degrees. Policy changes are one of the most frightening things international students face. There's no advance notice, rules can change drastically overnight, and sometimes dreams of studying abroad end instantly, sending students home without warning. We've been analyzing the international student journey in Canada, exploring its complex layers. Some challenges students can manage, like budgeting from episode 3. Others are completely out of their control but change everything, like government policies for international students. Before breaking down this complex topic, Emma Jankowski from TMU's International Student Support stresses a crucial warning.
In Canada, providing advice and guidance on any matters related to Canadian immigration is quite strict, and there are only certain people who are authorized to do so. So those two designations I named, the RCIC and the RISIA, we have designation to provide Canadian immigration advice, as well as lawyers and notaries in the province of Quebec. So there are people that students find in their lives, friends, colleagues who, my uncle knows about immigration, or my cousin did this and it was fine. They should always seek the advice of someone who is licensed. Immigration in Canada changes pretty quickly, the policies, especially over the past few years. So you really want to make sure you're getting solid, accurate advice that is up to date.
Today, we decode the policy maze that's reshaping international education in Canada and reveal the strategies students use to adapt when the rules change mid-journey. Canada was the second largest host destination for international students in 2024, according to Project Atlas, but popularity brought new challenges. The government needed to align international students' programs with labor market needs and immigration goals. The 2024 cap on international students marks the most substantial policy change since COVID-19.
The changes to the international student program, specifically the introduction of the caps. So that was big, and it's just been over a year and a half since those changes have gone into place, and they have evolved. So in the past, we were able to accept as many international students as we could support in terms of having places for them in programs and the necessary supports available for them at the university. But the federal government intervened and imposed a cap across Canada. And then those caps were then moved down to the provincial level and then each institution. So we're definitely seeing a decrease in the number of international students due to the caps, as well as just the kind of the reputational damage that Canada has suffered from the introduction of those caps as an international education destination.
In January 2024, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada implemented a 2-year cap, reducing a new study permit approvals by 35% down to approximately 36,000 permits for 2024. The government cited concerns that many students were arriving without adequate support. Some students' plans were devastated by these changes.
First of all, the post-graduation work permit, because they changed the policies and now it's pretty hard to get one. And that will affect if I can stay here after I graduate. And my program is not in the list my college shared, programs that are related with health they get more chances to get the post-graduation work permit, but my program doesn't.
Others had close calls with policy changes published on the IRCC website.
I think they've changed the policy for you to get the work permit. Yeah, to get the work permit. And luckily, we just made the cutoff.
When they changed the policy for postgraduate work permit, now we have to do the language exam, right? So that is one thing I've noticed, and it's definitely getting stricter. Especially for undergrad or college or degree, diploma things. So Yep. I'm pretty happy I went for a master's degree.
I mean, luckily for me, I get the 3 years, right? But nowadays, people who are applying for it, they only get a year, right? It's how much you give in and it's how much you get out, right? I think I may be wrong. Disclaimer, but I think the idea that I have like 3 years leeway where I could I have time to secure a job, maybe secure myself in Canada.
These policy changes are part of an ever-shifting landscape connecting studying in Canada with job opportunities and the hope of Canadian permanent residence. According to the Canadian Bureau of International Education, 57% of international students plan to apply for permanent residence. Canada's rules for international students have evolved rapidly, from race-based entry criteria to the merit-driven point system of 1967. The focus shifted towards skills and education. Starting in 2001, the pace accelerated, new immigration streams opened, express entry reshaped skilled migration, and COVID-19 briefly expanded work rights. Then came January 2024's dramatic shift. That's why students are becoming more strategic about policy changes.
I think it's going to be very different. Like, I've heard about the decrease of the number of international students already. Like, it's harder for them to get the student visa right now, and they have to really prove their financial status and stuff. And I've also heard it's harder for people who graduated, worked a while, and they want to pursue a further education.
Current policies require specific checklists for study permits. Here's what every prospective student needs: acceptance from a designated learning institution, a provincial attestation letter unless exempt, proof of identity, and financial support of at least $20,635 per year, increasing to $22,895 in September 2025. The Provincial Attestation Letter system confuses many students. Here's how it works. The federal government sets the cap. Provinces get allocated numbers, then institutions receive their quotas. Provinces track this through PAL letters.
This Provincial Attestation Letter change and the introduction of this document has been a real puzzling update for a lot of students because everyone thinks they need one, and that is not the case. It's only new students who need one, and the changes have evolved. So when they introduced this PAL, the Provincial Attestation Letter, it was only incoming students who didn't have a study permit. They made new changes where those students still need it, but now also students who are changing from one institution to another also need it. So really trying to update students in a way that is informative and is not creating panic. We send out communications to current international students, and something like this, the changes around the PAL, was a real difficult communication to navigate because we want to provide an update, but at the same time, we don't want to cause any panic because most current students really don't need a provincial attestation letter. So it's been a lot of reassurance, directing students to the website so that they can see firsthand, yes, I don't need a PAL, but also being very clear on who does need a PAL and how you get one. The federal policy, in its most simple terms, is the introduction of the cap. And then each province got a certain number of international students that they can accept. And then from the provincial level, it goes down to the institutional level. The province determines how many spots for new international students each post-secondary education institution gets. And the way they're managing that is through the issuance of the PAL. So the PAL, what it looks like is it's a one-page document, and it's on Province of Ontario letterhead. So the PAL is not issued by the university. It is issued by the province. And that is the province's way of keeping track of how many international students each institution is accepting.
Students now need multiple backup plans, as Emma explains.
They're more aware of what's happening on the immigration lens. In the past, students may have not been so dialed in, but now they know that there are changes happening and they want to make sure they're up to date. And because they understand that there are changes happening, international students are being a bit more cautious and also fairly strategic So in the past, I think of students graduating and their goal being applying for PR, for permanent residence. And in the past, usually they would think, okay, I'm going to get my 1 year of work experience. I'm going to apply for express entry and I'm good. But now they understand that the context has shifted and that they can't just have a plan A. They need to have a plan A, a plan B, and sometimes a plan C. And they need to be agile in their thinking about, okay, this is how I want to get to my permanent residence, for example. However, the path may not be straight. I might need to be strategic and maybe I need to apply for another work permit. Maybe I won't get my PR by the time my post-graduation work permit is up. Or maybe I'm going to consider doing a second degree so that I get more points for my education and potentially a longer post-graduation work permit. So we're really seeing students think outside the box and be cautious and kind of make sure that they have all their options open and that they're willing to consider different things in order to get to their end objective or goal.
For students graduating after January 2024, new rules apply for post-graduation work permits, including mandatory language testing.
Recently, I think some of our peers I was talking to, they're doing to get your postgraduate work permit, you have to obtain a English language certificate, be it TOEFL, IELTS. I don't know the other ones, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah. And you go on the website, you're like, okay, what's the requirements, right? It will always say you don't need it, right? But nowadays, because they updated recently, right? Like all these old websites you go read on is like out of date. And a lot of people I talk to like, oh, wait, hold on. I need a language certificate? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm graduating soon. Hold on. It's this worry thing.
Current international graduates need proof of completion, language proficiency, CLB 7 for university graduates, CLB 5 for others, and many programs must align with eligible fields according to IRCC's revised list. Language tests cost approximately 200 to 400 Canadian, adding unexpected expenses for graduating students. Here's the current reality for fall 2025. Canada is granting about 124,000 new study permits, while over 375,000 students are applying, suggesting roughly a 67% rejection rate. According to Apply Board projections, in 2026 follows similar patterns with about 306,000 new permits expected. Rejection rates could remain near 2/3 of applicants. What happens when policies shift during application? Generally, IRCC protects applicants under original rules. Canada revised maintained status rules in May 2025. If you file before your permit expires, you retain status during review, even if policies change. But applying after expiration means new rules may apply. Knowing requirements isn't enough. Students face an information battlefield. Social media accounts and websites bombard prospective students with conflicting information, creating confusion and gaps.
Actually, I watch TikTok videos or on Twitter, and if it's affected me, I research about it, if it's true or not, and know more information about it.
Students must filter reliable information from fake news and unreliable sources. They should constantly question information accuracy and find correct answers, even if that implies questioning your mother.
Sometimes she comes with the big news. Oh, did you hear what's happening? Oh, there will be a huge economic war between Canada and USA and whatever. I tell her, what did you hear that? She said, oh, my friend in Iraq sent me the news on WhatsApp. Seriously, you believed her that much? But yeah, because I don't have time to follow up so much on all the policies and the news. So yeah, I try to take my mom's word for it and filter, the stuff that I believe and the stuff that I don't believe.
Students learn to rely on official sources for accurate information.
My go-to source is the IRC website. It's always been there. I regularly check it. It's my second tab on my Chrome. On my Chrome, it's always there, just in case, double check. And it's also because I first thought how I would check is reading through the TMU official, the school guide. on policies about like postgraduate work permits, everything else. But then after a while, I just started going directly to the IRC website.
This complexity is why expert guidance becomes essential. Emma offers crucial advice for prospective students.
The most important piece of advice would be to be well informed and to ask questions. You want to know exactly the program you're looking for. What does it offer? What is it going to offer me? How is it going to benefit my career path or my aspirations or my academic trajectory? So you want to make sure that you are choosing a program that works for you. At the same time, it's not the end of the day if you get here and you choose a program and it's not what you think. There are opportunities for change, to look into something else. But I would say do your research, both in terms of your program, first and foremost, because that's the main reason for you coming here, but also do your research on the immigration side. A lot of international students, and not all, but many, come to Canada to study because they also want the opportunity to gain some work experience or even to transition to permanent residence. So you want to do some research to look at what are the possibilities of that right now, and also have an understanding of change. Immigration policy can change often, frequently, and without notice. So do what you can to make sure you are making a well-informed decision on, this is why I want to study in Canada at TMU. This is why this program is unique, or this is why I feel like this program can support me. And these are my personal expectations regarding what my academic journey and beyond might look like in Canada. And these are the ways that I think I'll be able to stay. Of course, folks in admissions, folks in my office, people in different areas of the university, we are there to answer your questions, to make sure that you understand and that things are clear. So don't be shy to seek clarification and to make sure you really understand, if you're going to move forward with this decision, and that you feel supported and informed.
Institutions like TMU provide comprehensive support to help students navigate these challenges.
I would say that our support is fairly comprehensive and continuous. So when I say that, I mean that we do our best to support students before they get here. So we have a series of pre-arrival newsletters, pre-arrival meetups. We offer study permit webinars, starting from months before students actually arrive, to really try and support students from the minute they get that offer, to let them know, hey, this is what you need to do next, and we're here to provide guidance on that. So this year we introduced a new format to our study permit webinars, where we did a regional approach. In the past, we did a general study permit for outside Canada. But what we've seen over the past year, especially with the caps and the immigration trends, is that applications from certain regions and countries are getting rejected, unfortunately, more often. So what we did is we looked at those applications that were getting rejected, what countries they were from, and then we geared the sessions to certain regions where our study permit webinar, for example, for South Asia, we really beefed up our content. We went really in depth, thoroughly into how do you write a study plan? And these are all the aspects that you could include. Whereas a student, for example, in Germany, they might not need that same level of information to get the same result on their study permit. So it's been really successful in that students are getting the real level and specific information they need to succeed with their study permit applications. The other thing I wanted to mention is, of course, my team is here throughout the time that a student's at TMU, but we're also very happy to support students after they graduate. If they have questions about applying for permanent residence, if their post-graduation work permit is coming to an end and they're not sure what their options are, they can still come back and talk to us. So I think that's one of the main things where we really try to get ahead and support students as much as possible. We decided to introduce an initiative where if a student's study permit is rejected, we have streamlined appointments available to consult with those students and to give them feedback, really clear feedback and advice on how to strengthen and submit a new application. So we started that kind of in the spring, late spring, I would say. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of students because study permit refusal rates are rising. So what we do is we ask students to send us everything they submitted with their study permit, and we review all the documents. We review the application forms, we take notes, we meet with them, sometimes also with, their parent is there or their partner or any support person in their life. We want them there as well, and give them kind of line by line feedback on, okay, you can improve this by removing this document, adding this needs a translation, this needs to be notarized. Make a table of contents so your application is organized. We give them all the feedback we can. And we've had, from that initiative, 3 study permits have been approved. So it's not a huge number, but every study permit application that gets approved is one student's future and their aspirations and their dreams. It's making one step forward. So we're really proud of that, and we hope that over the next month, which is a really critical time for study permits getting processed, we'll hear of more approvals.
Support extends beyond getting accepted. Students need guidance throughout their studies and into their careers.
Based on their study permit, they're able to work 24 hours per week. So we have the Career and Co-op Center, Career Co-op and Student Success Center, I should say, and they're wonderful in supporting students in preparing a resume, preparing a Canadian style resume, because that can differ a lot from other countries. Getting students prepared for interviews, giving feedback, and just in general supporting the job search. So there's a lot that happens through that office. In recent years, we've also had something called the Job Search Club for international students. There's a program called Career Boost International, and that's really the work-study program for international students at TMU.
Policy changes reshape real lives and dreams. Students that adapt successfully learn to expect change, maintain multiple plans, and seek expert guidance when navigating complex requirements. Beyond paperwork and applications lies the psychological impact of constant uncertainty. For deeper insights into how policy stress affects mental health, revisit episode 2, where Dr. Maria Pajan explores the mental challenges international students face. We've been breaking down international students' challenges, mental obstacles, budgeting, policies, and rules. But there's another mission that demands flexible social intelligence: cultural shocks. Next episode, we explore unexpected emotional and social scenarios that often become breaking points, even after overcoming money and policy difficulties. Until then, I'm Valerie. Stay informed, get advice from licensed immigration advisors, and don't believe everything on your screens. Policies change, but dreams adapt.
Thanks for tuning in to Dream to Degree, the pathway to convert dreams into reality. This podcast is brought to you by Valerie, Aryan, Edu, and Lakshman, graduate students in the Masters of Digital Media program at Toronto Metropolitan University. If you want to learn more about the undergraduate or graduate programs offered at TMU, visit torontomu.ca. And if you're interested in the Masters of Digital Media program, you can reach out directly at mdm@torontomu.ca or explore the program at thecreativeschool.torontomu.ca/mdm. Follow and share the podcast, and until next time, keep learning, keep dreaming. Thank you.